Former Illinois deputy Sean Grayson sentenced to 20 years for killing Sonya Massey. In a high-profile case that drew national scrutiny and renewed debate over law enforcement conduct, former Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson was sentenced to 20 years in prison on January 29, 2026, for the fatal shooting of 36-year-old Sonya Massey in her Springfield, Illinois home. Grayson, 31, was convicted of second-degree murder in October 2025 by a jury that found his use of force unjustified when he shot Massey during a police response in July 2024. The judge imposed the maximum sentence allowed under Illinois law for the conviction, sending a powerful message about accountability within law enforcement ranks. The incident that sparked a national outcry. On July 6, 2024, Sonya Massey, a black mother of two, called 911 from her Springfield home after spotting what she believed was a possible intruder. Body camera footage later revealed that Massey, who was experiencing a mental health crisis at the time, was unarmed when law enforcement officers arrived. According to court records and police footage, Grayson and another deputy, Dawson Farley, first searched the exterior of Massey's home. Inside, confusion quickly escalated when Massey picked up a pot of hot water from her stove, which Grayson perceived as a threat. Despite repeated commands to set the pot down, Massey eventually complied, but then briefly lifted the pot again. At that point, Grayson drew his service weapon and fired, fatally striking Massey in the face. Grayson later claimed he feared being scalded, an assertion prosecutors and witnesses disputed during the trial. Trial and conviction. Grayson faced 3 counts of first-degree murder, which could have carried a life sentence. However, the jury acquitted him of the top charges and instead found him guilty of second-degree murder, a conviction that requires proof that the defendant acted under sudden and intense passion or honestly believed they were in danger, even if that belief was unreasonable. During the October 2025 trial, prosecutors argued that Massey posed no real threat and that the shooting was the result of Grayson's excessive response. Body camera evidence, testimony, and witness accounts were central to the prosecution's case, helping jurors see the fatal encounter from the perspective of Massey's vulnerability and confusion. Sentencing and reactions in court. At the January 29th sentencing hearing, Grayson apologized to Massey's family, expressing remorse and saying he wished he could undo what happened. His defense team had sought leniency, citing his stage 3 colon cancer and other serious health issues that they argued made a lengthy prison sentence particularly harsh. However, the judge dismissed those arguments and imposed the full 20-year term. Massey's family reacted emotionally to the sentence. Her parents and children, present in the courtroom, voiced their profound grief and the profound impact her loss has had on their lives. Today, I'm afraid to call the police in fear that I might end up like Sonya, her mother told the court, underscoring the deep mistrust and fear her death has instilled in her community. Broader implications and reforms. The Massey case did not end with Grayson's conviction. It sparked national protests and civil rights advocacy, leading to significant scrutiny of policing practices, particularly regarding mental health crisis responses and racial disparities in law enforcement encounters. In the aftermath of the shooting, Sangamon County agreed to a $10 million settlement with Massey's family. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump and his colleagues, who represented the family, issued statements saying the sentence reaffirmed that no one is above the law, but also highlighting that no prison term could restore Massey's life. The case also prompted legislative and procedural changes in Illinois, including laws that increase transparency in police hiring and training, and agreements with the U.S. Department of Justice to implement better mental health and de-escalation practices for emergency responses. A case with national resonance. Observers say that while the sentencing marks a milestone in holding a law enforcement officer accountable for deadly force, it also highlights broader systemic issues that continue to fuel debates about policing, public safety, and racial justice in the United States. The level of public engagement and calls for reform demonstrate the enduring impact of Massey's death far beyond Springfield.